Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Mr. Pad Paramahansa Buddhacharya Stotra the Sri Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Buddhacharya Stotra the Sri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai Ananda Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. We'll be on page 451 today. Let's see. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. On this fourth day of March 2020 in SanDiego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. We are in chapter 10 entitled The Opulence of the Absolute, text number 33, page 451. Aksharanam akarosmi dvandva samasikasya cha ahame vakshaya kalo dataham vishvato mukha aksharanam akarosmi dvandva samasikasya cha ahame vakshaya kalo dataham vishvato mukha Aksharanam akarosmi dvandvaksamasikasya cha ahame vakshaya kalo dataham vishvato mukha Aksharanam akarosmi. Dvandva samasikasya cha. Ahame bhakshaya kalo. Tataham vishvato mukha. Go ahead, Prakash. Aksharanam akarosmi. Dvandva samasikasya cha. Ahame bhakshayah kalo. Dataham vishvato mukha. Aksharanam akarosmi. Dvandva samasikasya cha. Ahame vakshayak kalo. Tataham vishvato mukham. I'll read the synonyms. Aksharanam, of letters, akaraha, the first letter. Asmi, I am, dvandvaha, the dual. Samasikasya, of compounds. Cha, and, aham, I am. Eva, certainly, akshayaha, eternal, kalaha, time. Data, the creator, aham, I am. Vishvata, mukhaha, Brahma. Translation, Krishna says to Arjuna, of letters I am the letter A, and among compound words I am the dual compound. I am also inexhaustible time, and of creators I am Brahma. Purport. Akara, the first letter of the Sanskrit alphabet, is the beginning of the Vedic literature. Without akara, nothing can be sounded. Therefore it is the beginning of sound. In Sanskrit there are also many compound words, of which the dual word, like Rama Krishna, is called dvandva. In this compound, the words Rama and Krishna have the same form, and therefore the compound is called dual. Among all kinds of killers, time is the ultimate, because time kills everything. Time is the representative of Krishna, because in due course of time there will be a great fire and everything will be annihilated. Among the living entities who are creators, Brahma, who has 4 heads, is the chief. Therefore he is the representative of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnanandana Shalakya Chakshu Unmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance to him and all members of Shri Parampara. So Krishna is continuing here. We may finish this chapter tonight. Well, no, there's some long purports. And these are lists of things, and in each category he's identifying with the foremost of the group. Again, you may notice he mentions I am time. This is the second time. He will also, in the next chapter, famously say Kalos me, Lokakshayakrit Pravido, that I am time and I've come to destroy everything. So he's emphasizing that. Time is something that can easily remind us of God, the all-powerful God, because it's unstoppable. It pushes everything to destruction. And one of the elements of real knowledge is facing up to the inevitability of time, taking away everything that we have, and using our time to transcend time, to come back to the platform of eternity. No past, no future, just the eternal now. It's said in the Brahma Samhita, at the end of the Brahma Samhita, there's two verses that describe the spiritual world. And one of them talks about time, one of these verses. So he says there, Shriya Kanta Padamapurusha Kalpataravo Druma Bhumish Chinda Managana Mahi Toya Mamatam Nata Ganam Kata Ganam Nachim Gamanam Abhibangshi Priyasaki Chidanandam Jyoti Padamapita Swajamapicha. So in this verse, it's a very nice description. He says, there in Goloka Vrindavan, Shriya Kanta Padamapurusha, that all of the beloveds of Krishna are goddesses of fortune, and he's the one beloved of all of them. Shriya Kanta Padamapurusha. And all the trees, they're not ordinary trees. They're all kalpa vrikshas, desire trees. The land is not ordinary land, it's Chintamani gems. The water is nectar. Walking is dancing. Speaking is singing. And one can always hear one's dear friend, the flute, Krishna's dear friend, the flute in the background. And everything is glowing with Chidananda Jyoti, with the blissful potency, chit potency. One can taste it in everything. Then it says, Sayatra Chirabdi Sravadi Surabhibhyashta Sumahan, that in that land there are all these Surabhi cows, and they're so blissful that they're soaking the land with milk. They're very, very happy there. And not a second passes by. There's no past, there's no future, just the eternal present. And only a few souls on this world can know that land, very pure. Very nice description. So, Kala, or time, is one of the 5 main subject matters of the Bhagavad Gita. Ishvara, the Jiva, the Supreme Lord, the living entity, material nature, karma, and time. These are described in the Bhagavad Gita. All of them are eternal, except for Kala. Except for karma. Karma can be finished. Karma means activities that produce some result. But in the spiritual realm or on the spiritual plane, even if you are physically in this world, but none of your activities are done with the material motivation, then you've transcended karma, and you're on your way back to Godhead. Because it's our latent desires that we cultivate in this world, and previous karma that keeps us coming back again and again. So there's this whole chapter, Karma Yoga, where Krishna's, and the 3rd and 4th chapter, how to work in this world without incurring more entanglement. And that involves sacrifice. If you sacrifice the fruits of your work for the pleasure of Krishna, then you're free. There's no good, so-called good or bad come. He says you have to understand 3 things: karma, vikarma, and akarma. Now in this context, karma means activities that are within the Vedic paradigm, because there's a karma kanda section of the Vedas. So they're not sinful, but they're still fruitive, and they'll keep you coming back. You may get a better position, you may go to heaven, but it still keeps you within the material world. Then there's vikarma, which is against the Vedic injunctions, which is sinful and which produces suffering. You may even lose the human form of life. But we're trying to get to akarma, activity that has no result, material result, good or bad, because the fruits are automatically given to Krishna. And that's therefore Krishna has this famous verse, Jagyartart kamano yatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Everything you do has to be done as a sacrifice for Vishnu, otherwise work binds you to this world. It's pretty hard to do that, because we're so habituated to working for the benefit of this body and the extensions of the body. But that's what it takes eventually to get out of this world. So bhakti includes karma yoga, because there's no question of it. The whole motivation for your activities, every breath of life in the pure devotees, is for the pleasure of the Lord. It's all sacrifice. Everything burns up. So we don't have to worry about kala. Otherwise, what does he say here? I am inexhaustible time. Time is always there, ready to take everything away. As he said in the previous verse, Mrityu sarva hataschaham. As death, I take everything away. So, time is the supreme killer, he says here. All right, should we go on? Actually, that's the very next words, the one I wasn't looking ahead. Mrityu sarva hataschaham udbhavas chabhavishyatam kirti shri vakchanadinam smitir medhadvatichama. I am all-devouring death, and I am the generating principle of all that is yet to be. Among women, I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience. Purport. As soon as a man is born, or a woman, he dies at every moment. Thus, death is devouring every living entity at every moment, but the last stroke is called death itself. That death is Krishna. As for future development, all living entities undergo 6 basic changes. They are born, they grow, they remain for some time, they reproduce, they dwindle, and finally they vanish. Of these changes, the first is deliverance from the womb, and that is Krishna. The first generation is the beginning of all future activities. The 7 opulences listed, fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, and patience, are considered feminine. If a person possesses all of them or some of them, he becomes glorious. If a man is famous as a righteous man, that makes him glorious. Sanskrit is a perfect language and is therefore very glorious. If after studying one can remember a subject matter, he is gifted with a good memory or smriti, and the ability not only to read many books on different subject matters, but to understand them and apply them when necessary is intelligence, medha, another opulence. The ability to overcome unsteadiness is called firmness or steadfastness, driti. And when one is fully qualified yet is humble and gentle, and when one is able to keep his balance both in sorrow and in the ecstasy of joy, he has the opulence called patience or chama. Now this verse and purport went through some revision from the first printing in 1972. And one thing that doesn't come out clear here, when it says among women, I am fame. Now that sounds like these are qualities of women, among women. But no, what actually Prabhupada is saying here, these are all personified in various women. Just like this Vak, fine speech, it's like Saraswati. She's fine speech and intelligence personified. So sometimes these qualities, they're said to be feminine, but driti is one of the qualities of the Kshatriyas. It's not just possessed by women. You study chapter 18 and you see that's one of the main qualities, determination in battle, driti. And then there's this idea, let's see, what is it? Oh yeah, that Prabhupada would quote this one line a lot, Mrityu Sarvahadaschaham, because in the material world, there's all these plans that we make. Right? We're born into a certain family, a certain country, a certain language, and you're educated, and then you have certain arc of your life that you're planning ahead, right? And during that lifetime, you may accumulate so many things. Some wealth, some children, some fame, whatever it may be, education, But all of that is connected to this particular embodiment that you have. You have a bank account, but there's a name on it. The name on it is your body. It's not you. When the body dies, that money doesn't go with you. In that sense, Krishna is mrityu, he takes everything away. So sometimes, Prabhupada in his preaching, when he's preaching, some people would challenge the existence of God. He says, okay, you may not believe in Krishna, but do you believe in death? Well, everyone believes in death. Well, Krishna will come to you as death. He'll take everything away. He says, as death, I take everything away. So we have a choice. We'll either meet Krishna as death, he'll force us to bow down, you'll be lying on the bed, and everything that we treasure, we're holding on to. It's our holding on to these things that is the problem. Because the more you hold on to, then that'll bring you back then the next time to try to get it again, you see. But if you have no assets, material assets, you simply have Krishna, then Krishna doesn't come as death, he comes as Krishna. You meet him. The person who you've been serving and meditating on and thinking and loving the whole lifetime, that's naturally what you're going to... So Krishna has many forms, and one of them is this death, which is, everybody has to go through it. So it's, but it's not the end. It's an experience you go through. The living entity doesn't die. You go on to another existence. So the question is, what can we do now to get the best future life? Best life in this life and with the future life. And the answer is Krishna consciousness. Cultivating remembrance of Krishna. Okay, let's go on. Brihat samatata samnam Gayatri chandasamaham Masanam margashirshoham Ritunam kusamakaraha. I'm sorry, it's not Ritunam, it's Ritunam. Ritunam kusamakaraha Of the hymns in the Sama Veda, I am the Brihat Sama, and of poetry, I am the Gayatri. Of months, I am Margashirsha, November, December. And of seasons, I am flower-bearing spring. Purport. It has already been explained by the Lord that among all the Vedas, he is the Sama Veda. The Sama Veda is rich with beautiful songs played by the various demigods. One of these songs is called the Brihat Sama, which has an exquisite melody and is sung at midnight. In Sanskrit, there are definite rules that regulate poetry. Rhyme and meter are not written whimsically, as in much modern poetry. Amongst the regulated poetry, the Gayatri mantra, which is chanted by the duly qualified Brahmins, is the most prominent. The Gayatri mantra is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because the Gayatri mantra is especially meant for God realization, it represents the Supreme Lord. This mantra is meant for spiritually advanced people, and when one attains success in chanting it, he can enter into the transcendental position of the Lord. One must first acquire the qualities of the perfectly situated person, the qualities of goodness according to the laws of material nature, in order to chant the Gayatri mantra. The Gayatri mantra is very important in Vedic civilization and is considered to be the sound incarnation of Brahman. Brahma is its initiator, and it is passed down from him in disciplic succession. The month of November-December is considered the best of all months because in India, grains are collected from the fields at this time, and the people become very happy. Of course, spring is a season universally liked because it is neither too hot nor too cold, and the flowers and trees blossom and flourish. In spring, there are also many ceremonies commemorating Krishna's pastimes. Therefore, this is considered to be the most joyful of all seasons, and it is the representative of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. I always like spring, although oftentimes this comes before spring, but it's the harbinger of spring, and that's Gaur Purnima. It's coming up. Less than a week now. On Monday. Dyutam chalayatam-asmi. Tejas vinamaham. Jayosmi bibasayosmi. Sattvam sattvamatamaham. I am also the gambling of cheats, and of the splendid I am the splendor. I am victory, I am adventure, and I am the strength of the strong. Purport. There are many kinds of cheaters all over the universe. Of all cheating processes, gambling stands supreme and therefore represents Krishna. As the Supreme, Krishna can be more deceitful than any mere man. The unfortunate commentator who wants to cheat Krishna and the public by saying that there is something greater than Krishna is cheated by Krishna, and the commentator cannot understand Krishna after any length of time. If Krishna chooses to deceive a person, no one can surpass him in his deceit. His greatness is not simply one-sided, it is all-sided. Among the victorious, he is victory. He is the splendor of the splendid. Among the enterprising and industrious, he is the most enterprising, the most industrious. Among adventurers, he is the most adventurous, and among the strong, he is the strongest. When Krishna was present on earth, no one could surpass him in strength. Even in his childhood, he lifted Govardhan Hill. No one can surpass him in cheating. No one can surpass him in splendor. No one can surpass him in victory. No one can surpass him in enterprise. And no one can surpass him in strength. So this enterprise or adventure, it's really like a venture, like an investment. I'm not sure how this adventure got in there, but anyway, it's there now, forever. And it's nice of the adventure. He's the I am adventure. Now, one thing about gambling, I thought about, because I used to be a little bit of a gambler when I was a kid. Luckily, I never got totally addicted to it, but it can be as addicting as any drug. I think we know that by now. But of the four regular principles, no illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, and no meat eating, few devotees realize that the most difficult one is gambling. And I'll tell you why. Because in this lifetime, we have knowledge. All of us are sitting here. And it doesn't take long reading the Bhagavad Gita or any of Srila Prabhupada's books to understand the mission of human life, which is to become Krishna conscious. The basic mission of human life is to break out of the bonds of birth and death, right? We've been in those bonds for countless births, different species, who knows, so much suffering. And yet, by Krishna's mercy, we forget. We forget all those births, we forget all those deaths, all those diseases, and we're kind of sitting here. Most people have no idea. They have no idea that there's a mission of human life, that there is an urgency to it, that there's a way of stopping all suffering and attaining unlimited happiness. It's not there. They're trying to eke out a living, keep a roof over their head, pay the rent, whatever. It's an emergency. But we're not like that, right? We have some knowledge that there's a mission here, and we want to try to get out of this. And yet, the tendency is to not want to accept the urgency all the time, and to gamble that we have time, that we can do it later, we can get serious later, or even next life, But that's a foolish gamble. We don't know how much time we actually have in this lifetime, right? Coronavirus is coming. But I mean, there's so many ways that death can catch up to you. I've been reading the first canto, which is centered on how the Bhagavatam came to be written, how it was first spoken by Shukadeva Goswami. And Maharaj Pariksit, suddenly he had only 7 days left. Right? He accepted that curse of the Brahmin. I don't know if you know the story. The Brahmin's son. He was the beginning of the degradation of the Brahminical class. And he didn't panic. He didn't have a bucket list that suddenly he had to try to fulfill. You know what a bucket list is? It's something that you want to do before you die. When you get old or you have terminal disease. Okay, I want to go on a cruise ship. I want to visit this. Right? Isn't that what it means? That wasn't part of it. First of all, he could have counteracted the curse, but he accepted it as Krishna's arrangement. In fact, in the Bhagavatam, it's explained that the whole thing was Krishna's arrangement. How it started when he was out in the forest, because Kshatriyas would go out, they would practice their archery out there. So he's walking. He got very tired. He got very hungry and thirsty. And he comes upon this simple meditation hut of Shamika Rishi. And this is kind of a theme in the literatures where being in trance can sometimes cause a lot of trouble because you're not reacting to the great personage who comes through the door. So this king of the emperor of the world comes walking through the door, and he's just looking for a little water, a little place to sit, But Shamika Rishi, he's in trance. He doesn't even perceive him. But Maharaj Pariksit, now he's very, religious. I mean, he follows the Dharma, and the Kshatriyas are in a different level. They're below the Brahmins, and this is a Paka Brahmin, Shamika Rishi, great sage. And he has a little son named Shringi, who's also highly qualified as a Brahmin. He's practiced, and he has developed some Brahma Tejas, power of a Brahmin. So this is set up here. So it says, unprecedentedly, Maharaj Pariksit became angry at the sage for not receiving him properly. He didn't really have faith that he was really in trance. So he didn't get any water, didn't get anything, and so he's tired. So he sees a dead snake near the door, so he takes that snake with his bow and he garlands the sage with the snake. And then on the way back, he says, well, maybe he was really in trance. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. That's not so, So when he gets back to the palace, he learns that the son heard about it from his playmates. He's just a kid. But he's furious, he's angry, he starts cursing the king. He doesn't know his place, he's like a dog, he should be, And he curses him to die in 7 days, to be bitten by this snake bird, Takshaka. So then he goes back to, he had heard about it, so he goes back to his hut, and sure enough, there's his father sitting there in trance with the snake, So the son is wailing. As soon as he sees his father, he starts crying and bawling. And so breaks the trance, and the snake, the sage sees the snake, throws it aside. So what's the matter, my son? He says, oh, I cursed the king to die. I once played this in a play back in the early 70s, this Shamika Rishi. Oh, I foresee the people we've degraded like dogs, he foresees with his spiritual vision. All because of what his son did. Because King Parikshit, he was holding back the force of Kali by his administration, very powerful, running the whole world. So now he's going to die and the whole world will go to hell. Anyway, so what happens is that Maharaj Parikshit, he takes it as the hand of Krishna. He says, okay, this is Krishna's blessing on me. And he gives up his kingly garb, he gives up his kingdom, he gives up everything, puts the kingdom in the hands of his son, Janmejaya. And he sits down on the Ganges and waits. And all these great sages of the universe, Narada Muni comes, they come also to sit and wait and see what's going to happen. And so what happens is that Shukadev Goswami comes. He's only like 16 years old, but he's the most realized devotee. Everyone honors him, bows down. And he's completely naked. He sits down on the Vyasasana. And Maharaj Parikshit, offers a basis several times. And then he asks him this key question. What should one hear about, chant about, remember, and think about at the time of death? And probably, this is a question for all of us. It's really key. So we should stop gambling that we're going to live, another 20, 30, 40 years. That's one of the blessings of getting old. You're not going to leave 20, 30 years. You got to get serious. Oh, let's get harekrishna, harekrishna. So it's serious, because mrityu sabhadasthana, everything's taken away, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen in the future. All right, let's go on. Text 37. 37? Yes. Yes. Vishinam vasudevosmi Pandavanam Dhananjaya Muninanapyaham Vyasa Kavinam Ushana Kavihi. Of the descendants of Vrishni, I am Vasudev, and of the Pandavas, I am Arjun. Of the sages, I am Vyas, and among great thinkers, I am Ushana. Purport. Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Baladev is Krishna's immediate expansion. Both Lord Krishna and Baladev appeared as the sons of Vasudev, so both of them may be called Vasudev. From another point of view, because Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, all the forms of Krishna that appear elsewhere are his expansions. Vasudev is Krishna's immediate expansion, so Vasudev is not different from Krishna. It is to be understood that the Vasudev referred to in this verse of the Bhagavad Gita is Baladev, or Balaram, because he is the original source of all incarnations, and thus he is the sole source of Vasudev. The immediate expansions of the Lord are called Svanksha, personal expansions, and there are also expansions called Vibhinnangsha, separated expansions. We belong to the Vibhinnangsha category, separated expansions. Amongst the sons of Pandu, Arjun is famous as Dhananjaya. Dhananjaya means conqueror of wealth. He is the best of men and therefore represents Krishna. Among the Munis, or learned men conversant in the Vedic knowledge, Vyas is the greatest because he explained the Vedic knowledge in many different ways for the understanding of the common mass of people in this age of Kali. And Vyas is also known as an incarnation of Krishna. Therefore, Vyas also represents Krishna. Kavis are those who are capable of thinking thoroughly on any subject matter. Among the Kavis, Ushana, Shukracharya, was the spiritual master of the demons. He was an extremely intelligent and far-seeing politician. Thus, Shukracharya is another representative of the opulence of Krishna. So even among the demons, we can remember Krishna. Shukra means semen. So he was a hereditary acharya. And he was as mentioned here, the spiritual master of the demons. And so he's famous especially in relation to Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj was the grandson of Prahlad. So you know that he's special. And eventually he shows his real nature as a devotee and becomes one of the Mahajans. But before that happens, he he attacks and conquers the demons, the demigods' abode. So Aditi, the mother of the demigods, is very upset. And she prays to the Lord to help her to get their abodes back of her sons. Basically, she's a whole line of demigods, the Adityas. So Vamanadev appears as her son. He's known as Upendra, the younger brother of Indra. Indra is also one of her sons. So Upendra, he appears as a little boy, a little miniature. They call it dwarf Brahmin. I don't like to use that word dwarf because in modern English it means misshapen dwarf. But he's a midget. He's diminutive. So in other words, he's kind of how would I say it? He's going to cheat. He's going to cheat Bali. So he appears at this big sacrifice, and he's walking toward the sacrifice, and there's all this effulgence, and so Bali is very respectful. He's a Brahmin, brahmachari, so he offers him any charity, anything you want. I have planets, you can have whatever you want. So Vamana says, well, a Brahmin, if he's not satisfied with little bit, and he's not really a Brahmin, so just give me 3 steps of land. And as Prabhupada points out in a tape, and his sole of his foot was very small, so it wasn't very much land. And Bali says, are you sure that's all you want? He says, yes. So he says, okay. But meanwhile, this Shukracharya is there, and he realizes this is Vishnu. He'll take everything. So he said, don't give it to him. Even though he already gave it to him, he said, you didn't utter the syllables Om or something. It's okay. So Bali says, what are you telling me? That not to worship Vishnu. So he rejects Shukracharya and he offers him the 3 steps of land. And you know what happens. So the first step, he covers the whole universe. The first step, he covers the whole earth. Second step, the whole universe. Pierces the covering of the universe so that some drops of the causal ocean leak through and become the Ganges River. And then the third step, he's expanded, obviously, So he says, okay, where am I going to put my third step, Bali? Put it on my head. In other words, he surrenders with that. And having done that, he becomes Mahajan. In other words, he becomes the exemplar for Atma Nivedanam, for giving everything. So, meanwhile, Shukracharya, what happens to him? Later on, he becomes delivered. I believe he gets purified, but it was a very difficult experience for him. All right. We're going to finish this chapter. Why not? Dando damayatam nitir asmi jigishatam maunam chaivasmi guyanam gyanam ganavatamaham. Among all means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment, and of those who seek victory, I am morality. Of secret things, I am silence, and of the wise, I am the wisdom. Purport. There are many suppressing agents, of which the most important are those that cut down miscreants. When miscreants are punished, the agency of chastisement represents Krishna. Among those who are trying to be victorious in some field of activity, the most victorious element is morality. Among the confidential activities of hearing, thinking, and meditating, silence is most important because by silence one can make progress very quickly. The wise man is he who can discriminate between matter and spirit, between God's superior and inferior energies. Such knowledge is Krishna himself. Jnanam Jnanavatam. This is the wisdom of the wise. So let's see. Punishing agents. Arjuna is reluctant to become punishing agent here. Really, this is Krishna's whole plan, is that this battle will be fought, and that all of these demonic forces will be eliminated. You remember that's one of his missions. Paratanaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam, destroying the dushkritis, the evil persons on the earth. And the whole reason he appeared, if you go back to the beginning of the 10th canto, Mother Bhumi had become very distressed because of all of the burden of the demoniac forces that had taken over the earth. And so she takes the form of a cow, and she approaches Brahma, and Brahma leads all the demigods to the shore of the ocean of milk, meditates, gets a message transmission from Jirodakshai Vishnu that don't worry, I'm going to appear soon. So all the demigods through expansion should take birth in the Yadu dynasty and all the dynasties. So Krishna is receptive to that plea. And he's come today, he's here today, not in his original Vrindavan form, but he's here in the form of the holy name. And that holy name, Sankirtan, is the only hope for humanity. The purificatory power of Krishna. One of the measures of realization, of actual realization, is when you realize the holy name is none different from Krishna in all respects. That's totally inconceivable, but that's the power of it. You can associate with Krishna by chanting his holy name. That's the essence of this whole movement. Prabhupada came and he spoke. He had his books. But what made it all very real was the kirtan, the fact that you could experience it. You come off the street, you don't have any assets, anything. You're just curious. You chant Hare Krishna, and suddenly you realize there's a reality here. There's actual spiritual power, and then all the books start to make complete sense. That's the engine of everything, is the chanting. Okay, Yachapi Sarvabhutanam Bijam Tadahamarjana Natat Asti Vinayatsyan Maya Bhutam Characharam. Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existences. He said that elsewhere, I think in chapter 7. There is no being, moving or non-moving, that can exist without me. Purport. Everything has a cause, and that cause or seed of manifestation is Krishna. Without Krishna's energy, nothing can exist. Therefore he is called omnipotent. Without his potency, neither the movable nor the immovable can exist. Whatever existence is not founded on the energy of Krishna is called Maya, that which is not. In other words, everything that exists is founded on the energy of Maya. But if there's some existence that you think or seems not to be founded on Krishna, that's Maya. That's illusion. There is no existence not founded on the energy of Krishna. I think we fixed that. The seed, that's the seed, the cause. Searching for the cause of all causes. That's a human effort. That's what the Vedanta Sutra is telling us about. Atato Brahma Jigyasa. You should search out, be curious, inquisitive about the cause of everything. And the seed is an absolutely important, essential part of that cause. So here, Krishna is the seed of all existences. And you can see how amazing it is through Maya that many of the scientists, they come to the conclusion that no, there's no ultimate cause. It's just nature. All and infinite time. Eventually all of this comes about. But there's no amount of time without the intelligence, the supreme intelligence of Krishna organizing everything and expanding himself in so many ways to enlighten Brahma and others to, but it's Krishna's intelligence. And that means a person. So that's a most amazing feature of Maya is how so-called intelligent people can come to the conclusion that there's no conscious being has guided everything to create this wonderful existence. If you become Krishna conscious, everything is a proof of God, His existence. Where is there not organization? Even in something that looks totally disorganized, you get down into it and you get down into those molecules and the atoms, and there's always tons of organization, information. So we're surrounded by evidence of God's existence, and yet, due to our desire to try to enjoy the energy of God, we don't see that. And so Krishna consciousness means seeing that at every time and whenever possible to use Krishna's energy in Krishna's service. Okay, so now he's wrapping it up. Nantosti mama divyanam vibhuti nam parantapa Esha tu desha tak prokto Vibhutir Vistaro Maya. Almighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestations. What I have spoken to you is but a mere indication of my infinite opulences. Purport. As stated in the Vedic literature, although the opulences and energies of the Supreme are understood in various ways, there is no limit to such opulences. Therefore, not all the opulences and energies can be explained. Simply a few examples are being described to Arjuna to pacify his inquisitiveness. And then these last two verses are famous, often quoted. Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam Shrimad urjitameva va tattadevava gachatvam mamate jonksha sambhavam. Know that all opulent, beautiful, and glorious creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Purport. Any glorious or beautiful existence should be understood to be but a fragmental manifestation of Krishna's opulence, whether it be in the spiritual or material world. Anything extraordinarily opulent should be considered to represent Krishna's opulence. So this is a general principle that we can apply, because many of these things that we just heard about are not really in our current experience. How often do we really think of Airavata? You know, I mean, in the Vedic culture, this is a central part of the thing. You know, oh, Airavata, the wonderful elephant carrier of Indra. I see that manifest Krishna. But many of these things are, you know, kind of theoretical to us. But here's how we can apply it to our own environment. You know, he mentioned the ocean. Remember, bodies of water are in the ocean. That was one of the first things. But any time we see anything of splendor, I mentioned about Robert Oppenheimer. You know, when he first saw the first bomb blow up, he was head of the Manhattan Project in the early 40s, in building the bomb, trying to beat the Germans. And so when the first one blew up, he was dabbled in the Bhagavad Gita. He liked to read the Bhagavad Gita, believe it or not. Robert Oppenheimer. And when he saw the first one blow up, I guess they had the thick, you know, glasses, whatever, and it went off in the desert in New Mexico, Alamogordo. And he quoted a verse from the Bhagavad Gita, 11th chapter. I forget the number. Kalosmi loka kshayakrit pravidho. I am time, and I have come to destroy all the worlds. So that, you know, when we look up, we see the sun, or anything powerful, anything beautiful, anything displaying, you know, special vibhutis, special opulences, then we can think, oh, this is evidence of Krishna. He is manifesting just a spark of his splendor here. That's how we should see the world, because it will help us if we become steeped in the philosophy to see Krishna everywhere. You see him through his, you know, I'm the taste of water, I'm the light of the sun and the moon, I'm the sound and ether. We have heard in the 7th chapter. This helps us to remember God in everything, and understand our own position as insignificant, you know, supplicants, servants. And finally, the final verse, Atava bahonaitena kim gyatena tavarjuna vishtabhyahamidam kritsnam ekankshena stito jagat. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. Purport. We'll finish this now. The Supreme Lord, represented through the entire material universes by his entering, is represented through the entire material universes by his entering into all things as the Supersoul. The Lord here tells Arjuna that there is no point in understanding how things exist in their separate opulence and grandeur. He should know that all things are existing due to Krishna's entering them as Supersoul. From Brahma, the most gigantic entity, on down to the smallest ant, all are existing because the Lord has entered each and all and is sustaining them. There is a mission, Ramakrishna mission, notice the capital M. There is a mission that regularly propounds that worship of any demigod will lead one to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or the supreme goal. But worship of the demigods is thoroughly discouraged herein, because even the greatest demigods like Brahma and Shiva represent only a part of the opulence of the Supreme Lord. He is the origin of everything, everyone born, and no one is greater than him. He is Asamordhva. which means that no one is superior to him and that no one is equal to him. In the Padma Puran, it is said that one who considers the Supreme Lord Krishna in the same category with demigods, be they even Brahma or Shiva, becomes at once an atheist. If, however, one thoroughly studies the different descriptions of the opulences and expansions of Krishna's energy, then one can understand without any doubt the position of Lord Sri Krishna and can fix his mind in the worship of Krishna without deviation. The Lord is all-pervading by the expansion of his partial representation, the Supersoul, who enters into everything that is. Pure devotees, therefore, concentrate their minds in Krishna consciousness in full devotional service. Therefore, they are always situated in the transcendental position. Devotional service and worship of Krishna are very clearly indicated in this chapter in verses 8 to 11. Remember, these are the essential 4 verses of Gita. That is the way of pure devotional service. How one can attain the highest devotional perfection of association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead has been thoroughly explained in this chapter. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, a great acharya in disciplic succession from Krishna, concludes his commentary on this chapter by saying, Yat Chaktileshat Suryadya Bhavantyat Ugratejasaha Yadangshena Dritam Vishwam Sakrishno Dashamir Chate. From Lord Krishna's potent energy, even the powerful sun gets his power, and by Krishna's partial expansion, the whole world is maintained. Therefore, Lord Sri Krishna is worshipable. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports to the 10th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the opulence of the Absolute. And that's all we have time for tonight. We will resume on, well, Monday is Gaur Purnima, so that's going to be a special day. Is it Tuesday? I think it's Monday. We'll resume on Tuesday, exactly. I'm sorry. Yes. We'll resume with chapter 11. And you're all welcome and invited. Hare Krishna. Glories to Prabhupada.